Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Downtime with Downstar, episode 178. And today we're here with my guy, Travis Barona, Trust Fab. Travis, what's up, bro?
What's up, man? 178. Wow, that's a big number, huh?
I know, dude. Every time I say it, I'm just like, wow, I remember episode 5.
You know what's crazy to me is I had previously never really considered myself like a podcast listener, but I don't know, it was a few years ago now at this point, and you know what really turned me on? I think I spoke to you about it back then, was that Do It for a Living with Reed Lund.
Yeah.
And the Skunk 2 Dave one really memorable to me. It was like a 2-part episode. It was pretty rad. And then there was a CNC. I don't remember the guy's name, but he was like a CNC owner, and he spoke like on what it took to get into CNC manufacturing. And then there was the 2-wire ones that I liked, which was the Rye Wire one and then the Race Spec one.
Got you, yeah.
Those were amazing. And, you know, then I started listening to a couple more, and it got to the point where, you know, I had to give it a rest. They were getting bent out of shape at work that I had the earphones all the time. So, but yeah, it's pretty rad. Like, initially, what made you decide that you wanted to start doing this?
That? Reed? Yeah, shout out to Reed Lundy from KS Tune Kaizen Speed. He did a podcast. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago. It was a long time ago, because I've been doing this for almost 2 years, and it was significantly before that.
Right.
But
right.
I really didn't know much of what KS Tune did, because I was never really into that, like the H kind of stuff. So, but we were following each other on Facebook, and then I would see his podcast pop up, and then I seen some with like you said, Dave Sue from Skunk 2, John Velos from K Tuned, Brian Gillespie from Hassport, and I'm like, dude, these are fucking awesome stories, and I just craved it. And then Reed ended up selling it or stepping away or something, and then a new guy came in, and that kind of lost my connection, because I felt like I had a connection with Reed where we were kind of like on similar paths, we had similar questions, and we were interested in similar things. So then I kind of stepped away, but then I started gravitating towards other podcasts, such as like the Joe Rogan podcast, and then started diving into more motivational ones. And then, dude, that's like my hobby now. I love podcasting, bro.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of motivational ones for sure. I know. What's the guy with the muscle powders one that you like?
Andy Frisella?
Yeah, that guy's pretty cool. You know, I listened to a few of his shows when they were in the beginning ones. I don't like because you know that can start to get a little overwhelming with the motivational stuff, because you know, there's people that go to those seminars and whatnot, and then they do nothing.
Yeah.
Motivated to go like listen to a motivational speaker, and then they go home and sit on the couch and watch TV.
Well, so that's funny you say that, because Andy, he actually stepped away. He was doing that podcast that was called the MFCEO, which was about business and things like that, and he stepped away from that whole space. He's not even doing interviews or speeches or anything anymore, because he's like, dude, this market, it's just so tainted. People want to go to motivational speeches just to say that they went, and people, they're selling the courses, but they've never even done anything. And he's a real hustler. So he has another podcast. I think it's called The Real AF, like real Andy Frisella, but real as fuck. But that pod is dope, man, because he's a lot more vocal about the way that he feels. And just like I said about Reed, man, I feel that I align with him on so many thoughts. And it feels refreshing to know that, like, somebody that thinks the same way that I do, or we have similar ways, is excelling. But then it makes me feel like somebody who's excelled to something that I might never reach in my lifetime is still having the same problems that I'm having on my level right now.
Right. It's funny that you say that, because like I'm the type of dude that it's not a good thing. I want to stress that it's kind of like an issue that I need to work on overcoming, is like I'm never satisfied.
Yeah.
Like, so I can see people, like, let me give you an example, man. And this was a pretty, like, this was one of those moments where you have to be like, wow, like maybe I should stop, hating on myself so much. I was at I stay up sometimes pretty late. I work a lot of late hours. I I have a full-time 40-hour job, and then there's Trust Fab, and then there's all the additional hobbies and whatnot. But I was at a gas station, to pick up some Red Bull. I probably pound like 10 Red Bull a day at this point now. It's ridiculous. But I seen somebody that I went to high school with at like 2 in the morning at the gas station pulling cigarette butts that were smoked already out of the ashtray and like putting them in his pocket and keep it moving. And that's one of those moments when you're like, wow, you know what I mean? Like I just pulled up here in the Benz and, I'm spending $50 on Red Bull. Like, it's nothing. And maybe I should stop thinking that, everything sucks.
Yeah.
I'm just never I'm never satisfied. It could be, you could end up with the Porsche and then you'll be like, all right, well, what's next?
Yeah. I feel you.
It's a bad way to look at things in general. And, that's something that I'm working on and, on my own stuff. Like, that's why it makes it easy to relate to like a lot of clients and customers is that I always put myself in their shoes.
Yeah.
I know what it took for them to make that money. Well, I know what it took for me to make the money to buy the parts or whatever. And, it always is hard coming in and easy going out. So I always try to keep it boutique-ish. I never wanted to like blow up or anything. I wanted to have that relationship. And, the funny thing is a lot of the people that I deal with end up becoming like, friends. It doesn't necessarily need to be that way. I don't start out with it going in that direction.
Yeah.
But I look at you and me.
Yeah.
I mean, I showed up at a Honda day and to buy some hardware, and I was just like, hey, what's up, man? I'm Travis from Trust Fab. And I was pretty much just in your face, like kicking it with you, and then that was it. We're buddies from there on.
Yeah, you know what it is? You have a very good personality. I remember the first day I met you, you had a very firm handshake, and I'm like, wow, this is very rare for this atmosphere that we're in. This guy presents himself well. He's well spoken, and he's interesting, and he's not a dickhead,
Yeah.
And then I don't know how it even happened, but you ended up calling just for a question or something, and we talked for like an hour and a half.
I remember that. Yeah.
That shit was dope.
Yeah. That was funny. And it's interesting too with like when you go to things like that, you're lucky in the sense that you get to experience the West Coast lifestyle and the East Coast lifestyle and everywhere in between because things are so different from coast. New Jersey and California is kind of, everybody's going 1,000 miles an hour all the time.
Yeah.
But then you get to some of those places where it's a little more laid back and slower. And, sometimes you appreciate that. When you go to the Honda days here, I was fortunate enough to have, growing up, man, what a place to live here was over here in New Jersey. I mean, I must have been 17 years old with a 92 SI bubble. And there was a dude named Craig, that put my first GSR swap in at 17, and what a great car that was. And just everybody was into Hondas here, and we'd be racing in the streets all the time. And 17 years old, you get your license at 17. Imagine being 17, with a car with a GSR swap in it that has a 50 shot, and you're 17 pulling up to high school and that thing, it was awesome, and the scene was always super strong here. And being 15 minutes from the racetrack, which is funny in itself because with that racetrack, the backstory with that was like it was out in the middle of nowhere. There was no houses.
Now, is it Englishtown or Atco?
Englishtown. I really didn't spend much time at Atco.
Okay.
It was always Englishtown for me, but the funny thing was there was nothing out there. It was woods. And then they come and they build the houses, and the racetrack was there first, so you kind of know what you're getting into. And then all of a sudden the noise is a problem.
Yeah.
Which I think was comical. I mean, you built your house next to a racetrack, and then as time goes by, they really couldn't do much about it. But then some of those people in those expensive houses started to get onto that town's council, and now they're Bobby Big Time, and they don't want to hear the noise, and it started to become a problem. And but as far as going to the Honda days, like I remember I was talking to Mike about it when I saw him at the last one before it closed. And he was like, I appreciate the East Coast Honda days, but it's so different from where we are, where guys come and meet up and we talk. And here you have every car next to each other with the radio as loud as it can possibly be. It's just like, it kind of is chaotic when you go to those. I was always there more for the racing than for like everybody with their radio as loud as it can go, because it's like headache, bro. For me, I don't know, it gives me a massive headache.
That they would all just play that one song,
That
Infinity.
one song, you did a post like, what's this song? And you were like, yeah.
I have to play it, dude, because that is the song of that time. Like, guys, if you've ever I don't want it to fucking, like, you just gotta hear the horns right here. That's the song, dude. Bro, it's so funny because I talked to somebody and I was like, why do they just keep playing that one song? I don't even know what it is. And they're like, oh, it's this song.
That song when the bass hits, that shit hit hard. But everybody's got it on a different time frame. So it's hitting over here, then it's hitting over there. And you're like, oh my God.
Those like trumpets, bro, they're piercing, dog.
And then the one guy, he like pulls up, and, he's got like the Honda Odyssey, like the 92 Odyssey, and he opens the back of it, and it's just a wall of like 18s, and you're like, oh my God.
And it's louder than the stage. It's louder than the fucking stage.
Yeah. And then you got I got a guy over here, man, and I posted a picture not long ago. I love this guy to death. He's got like, this guy, man, he's great. He's got like a 16 Honda Odyssey. It was a beautiful minivan, and it says like dual overhead cam VTEC, like turbo.
Yeah.
And he like, it's just got all these random stickers on it that make no sense whatsoever. Oh, the poor guy. Then he put a wing on it the other day, one of the shopping cart wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's like really pimped out. He's got like the 15-inch like XXRs on there now. Had like the nice Honda wheels on it. He went down like 3 sizes. They tens though. He
keeps them clean. Man, that was such a good time. I hope people listening, that song just brings back some memories for them, dude. It's I wish, in hindsight, probably like all the H-Day guys and everyone, I wish I knew that was going to be our last time at Englishtown, because I would have soaked it in a lot more, man. It started becoming repetitive, going there 2 to 3 times a year. So it was like, okay, this is August. This is what we're doing now. But kind of miss it, man. I miss it a lot.
Yeah, I know. I remember when I was trying to get you to come stay at the crib instead of having a hotel at the last one that you were there. I remember hitting up like, I'm stopping at Wawa. You need any drinks, bro? He's like, nah, we're good. We're good.
I appreciate that shit, man. There's not that many people like you, bro. That's why I wanted to have you on here, dude. I can't think of why it took me so long, bro. It was just some people it just clicks, and then some people I'm like, bro, why haven't you fucking had that person on?
Dude, there's been some hitters on here, bro. So I'm a little guy. I got
nah.
I'm honored just to be on here. I
want people to know that like we'll have like the biggest names that we can in the industry, and then we'll have somebody who's on their grind. That's not the way that you get on the show, is that you have to have this many followers, that you have to be this big, that you have to have this many accolades. Pretty much you just have to be interesting and to have a conversation with. And I know with you, that's no problem, because we've done that off rip without even knowing each other for a long time, so.
Right.
But,
right. What is cool, man, about that is, what a tool that Instagram is. I don't use Facebook because there was like a thing going on where they had an issue. This is years ago. I haven't used it in years. And they were like they wanted me to send my driver's license.
That's right, yeah.
Or change to a business like name and pay them. And I was like, bro, get out of here, bro.
Yeah.
And so I ended up sending them like random dick pics. That didn't help the situation at all. I think they were like aggravated with that, and so they locked me out for 3 days, and then so then I got somebody else, and I was like, yeah, like, are you gonna behave? That's what they asked me. Are you gonna behave? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna behave. I'm gonna upload my driver's license to you right now, and another dick pic. Boom, 3 days. locked out again. And then I just gave up on it. I was like, enough with this. It's weird because Facebook made me absolutely, and I can appreciate that because that's actually when I first started welding, and that's a story in itself. But I made $0 from Facebook, but using Instagram as a tool is, astronomical for me. And I don't even have that many followers. People hear like 7,000 and they're like, oh my God, that's a lot. But in reality, that's nothing. But I use the shit out of that 7,000.
Yeah.
I put my advantage as best as I can. I mean, if you look at it from a standpoint like this, I don't even have a driving car yet. By being well spoken and fighting the urge to respond to people like a jerk off, and always being polite, answering questions as best you can, and by posting, parts pictures, I can get sponsors. I mean, how can you beat that? I don't even have a car. If I went to my basement, I showed you a car, it's 5 years worth of collecting parts. I mean, for the average guy to spend $80,000 on a Honda Civic, now don't get me wrong, there's guys that have the 60 and they can go to the store and drop 60 and it's nothing to them, and that's cool. Power to you. I'm not hating on that at all, but for the average guy that has adulting to do, dropping 60 grand isn't going to happen. So we got to face the thing that we're going to have to piece this together over the course of 4 or 5 years. Now, in my opinion, you can't do it quicker than that. I mean, today everybody wants to rush. I feel like that's the vibe, is as fast as you can. But with something like this, it needs to be planned out. And you need to do things that make sense, and avoid spending money twice is another critical thing, which is like a lot of people make that critical mistake. And so my car is 5 years, and I made a promise to myself it was going to be the best. Now I started building cars at 16. I'm 37 now. I feel like I have the knowledge and the metalworking skills to build just a monster.
Yeah.
So I said I'm going to build the best car that I can, and that's it. But when you buy the house and you get the dog and all that other stuff, you can't do it all at once. So it is what it is. But what I'm really looking forward to is the fun part, because now, if you guys saw that RSX that I did the other day, that's a beautiful car, and I got to, it's good for me because I like to do about 4 or 5 cars a year. That's what I like I like to be a boutique. It is what it is. I'm not looking to get a car here every week. You know what I mean? It's not what I don't need it. I got a great job. I'm in the union. I don't need it. But it was great working on just getting my hands, because it's at the point where you get to put parts on a car, which is the fun part. You know what I mean? Versus going without, saving, and seeing parts in your basement sucks.
Yeah.
Cool, you got it down there, but so what? The fun part is taking part A and putting it on the car. You know what I mean? And that's the part that I'm looking most forward to, is when I actually get to start to utilize all these parts and put them together and build something, because I really think that it's going to be something special, this one.
Yeah. Do you feel like you get the same enjoyment from seeing your parts installed on other people's cars?
Oh, dude, that's a great question. You know what? I love it. When I first started out, I had that attitude where I don't need the money. I do it because I like it.
Yeah.
Which I think helps the creative aspect of it. I like low numbers and unique stuff and one-off. That's why I started really with the dead pedal. Nobody was making really like a dead pedal like that. There were some sheet metal ones that were put in a brake, and that's cool, but that's not how mine was. And when some of these people would hit me up and I'd see the stuffed animal in the bike rack, and you don't even ride a bike, and there's 12 stuffed animals in the car. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that's cool if that's what you're into. I'm not hating on that, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna build you nothing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have no part from me on that car. I don't care if you're gonna give me 4 times what I want the money for. It's not happening.
Gotcha.
So when they'd hit me up, I'd be like, let me see what you're working with. They send me pictures of the car, and that's actually cool too, because maybe I didn't know about this car. and it ends up like Jeff's car, that the blue EM1. What a cool car.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Jeff, and he reached out to me, and we're buddies now. And I love having, one-off parts on some of these cars that are just badass. And, sometimes when I come across cars that I've never seen before, maybe that don't get the recognition that they deserve on the internet, it's really cool because you get to see what more people are doing. Because now that, the forums are dead and, shows really aren't going like they were, especially now, like 2020, that's like a garbage fire of a year.
Yeah.
You might as well just throw this whole year away, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty much, I'm looking to 2021. This year is just finished in my opinion.
Bro.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm even like, it's just, I like that shirt with the picture of the dumpster on fire and it says 2020 on the front of it. Like that's how I look at it this year, man.
That's my shirt right here is the Reno World Tour, and it has all the dates on the back that we were supposed to be at, and we haven't made any of them at all.
Oh yeah.
But I like when things get mixed up though, man. Because like I was saying about we go to the H days and it's where you're gonna be at in August. It's been like that for me for the last 10 years. My life has pretty much been scheduled out. SEMA November. This our meet this time or whatever.
Let me ask you this: when you do that, like, what do you can write all that off because it's for your business, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty valuable in itself, right?
Yeah, but after you get past everything, after you get past like writing it off, making money, all that, like it's still at the end of the day, everything comes down to time. You have to physically give your time to all of these obligations, and whether you have fun or you don't, whether it's stressful or not, like you have to be there. And it was nice to take this year off, at least this first half of it, to see all this craziness going on. For once, I see it as exciting. I like change and I embrace change, and I like when things just get mixed up because then you get to see where people's heads are. You see how this person reacts. You see how this company reacts. You see this company that you thought, oh man, they had it all together, and now they're struggling because they've been closed down for 2 weeks. So I like to be put into that pressure. It kind of makes me feel like, okay, now I'm ready for anything. Basically, how I feel about being a business owner and a hustler entrepreneur is your best skill is being able to fix problems. That's it. And all day, all I'm doing is just fixing problems. Whether it's a problem where something broke, something didn't get shipped, or it's a problem as these orders came in, we got to get them out. I'm just fixing problems all day. And this year's just helped me like sharpen the steel from fixing problems, because you don't know what the hell is happening next week. Like all of us listening, we don't know what life is going to be like next week. And
now let me ask you this. You're solving these problems 100% on your own. Like, how much do you rely on like an employee to handle any of that, or not at all? You do all the shipping issues, like, because I've been noticing shipping issues are, oh my God, shipping issues are a mother, and it takes a lot of my time away.
Yeah.
And my wife, I love her to death, but I kind of do this completely by myself. There's not much that she could even do as far as helping me with that. And the shipping stuff does become, an issue. How do you deal with that? It's you have help.
I have help, but the guys, they take care of just packing the orders and getting it done. So basically, go to the computer. We got an order from Travis, which we just did the other day. Okay, This is what he needs. We'll build it, pack it, and then that's ready to go. But that's just keeping the machine going. When you get the emails in, when you get the calls, the texts, all of that is handled by me, myself. And, I'm used to it already, so I know what I need to do, and I don't really feel like it's much of an obligation, because I've had this question so many times before. This person's asking me, so I just boop, 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 got to do it real quick. So I see the emails as just tasks that I need to take care of. As soon as I knock this out, then I can move to something else. And then you just compartmentalize, But with that, it helps adding more stuff to your plate all the time. So you're used to having a lot of stuff on your plate. So when you don't have a lot on your plate, you feel comfortable when somebody else would not be comfortable with the things that you have to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, is there a point where you turn this off, like during the day, or this is going all day long for you, like even at 2 in the morning?
I want to say it's always going, but it's not. It's not pressure. You know, I've found out how to manage everything better than I have been in the last last 5 years. I've just been able to figure out how to manage everything. So even when I'm checking DMs, emails, texts, all that kind of stuff, I I have so much free time throughout the day when I wouldn't think that I would have free time. So when we're hanging out at home, my wife's making dinner and we're watching a show and she's hearing it because she's cooking dinner, I'm checking messages, answering, watching the show at the same time, and it's just, multitasking.
Right. Yeah, I found I almost feel obligated after, because it's not like a couple dollars, like 40, $50. You're handing me 2 G's
Yeah.
with the dip and whatnot. So I feel like I'm obligated to, it's almost like, man, like normal, like me personally, and mind you, I'm not complaining because,
Yeah.
but me personally, I would never, if you knew that this was going to a cell phone, I'm going to wait until the next day, to hit you
Yeah.
up at it. But some people will hit you up at 3 in the morning, and I almost feel obligated to respond, even though I think that's not normal. Maybe, you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like a lot of my transactions occur from like midnight till 3:30 in the morning, and mind you, I'm up at 5 to go to,
Yeah.
Merck Pharmaceutical to go. Luckily I'm the boss there, well, a boss there, so it's not as bad as it used to be. It used to be like me in the hole versus
Yeah.
now I tell somebody else to get in the hole. So that aspect's gotten better, but that's just, I guess, with maturing with life. You show these people that you can handle the 25 things that they want to throw at you, plus do the paperwork, and other people too in the trade make it super easy to shine.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I know
Like,
exactly
if you could
what you
just
mean.
be a human and give 65% to them, you're a superstar. You know what I mean, dude? It's like, wow, this guy can answer the phone and do paperwork and tell somebody to go dig. We're in, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. One recommendation I would have for you, that number goes directly to your cell phone. So you're giving out your cell phone number, right?
yep,
Okay. So you want to look up Google Voice. Have you heard of that before?
no,
Okay. Google Voice. You can sign up for Google Voice. It's free, and you can get a phone number. You can get a phone number with any area code, right? So that's gonna be Trust Fab's number. You put that on your Instagram, everything. They could text that number. They can call it. But on your end, when you answer the phone, it's going to say call from, and then that person has to say their name, Frank. To answer, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2. So you answer it says call from, and if you have time, answer it. If you don't, let it go to voicemail, call them back. On my voicemail, I say, hey guys, you could shoot us a text if you want, because I'd rather text all day, dude. And I've been using that for years now, and pretty much people know that, like, if you have a question, you could just text Downstar and they'll send you a link or what have you.
right, and that's pretty much any hour of the day, and you have the option then to either answer it or not. Right? Yeah, that is pretty cool. That is pretty dope.
Because you don't know at 3 in the morning if it's your friend stranded or somebody calling about their order that they just placed.
Right.
So
yeah.
that helps out a lot. But I feel what you mean, dude. Like, I still get messages. Like, I got a message today that I'm checking my DMs on Downstar. I got a DM yesterday about like 4:30 in the afternoon, and then later on the night I get question marks, and then this morning when I check, it's a message saying like, why don't you answer my messages? And I'm like, look, bro, I have to answer messages from Downstar, from my personal one, emails, calls, texts. Like, I'm sorry I didn't answer it in the time that you thought was appropriate, bro. But I'll try better. And once you tell people like that, then they realize like, oh shit, this isn't Trust Fab, the huge corporation. This is fucking Travis working in his garage and sleeping because he has to work at 5 a.m. You know, so you have
Right.
to give them that human element sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about it. That's like a pet peeve of mine with the question marks. And it's been like, it's been like a half hour,
Yeah.
so, and then you ask the question and then you're hitting me with the 6 question marks. It's almost like calling somebody buddy.
Yeah.
Like, if, bro, let me tell you something, dude. If I don't know you and you call me buddy, that's the same thing as saying, hey, Travis, fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? Buddy, pal, guy. Oh, guy. Don't even get me started on guy. You call me guy? Oof. That's bad for business right there.
What about bro? Is that cool?
I could deal with bro,
Okay,
because
cool.
I overly use that word, but
Me
guy,
too.
buddy, and oh man, those set me off, and the question marks too. Those get me in my
How
feelings.
about
But
pal?
yeah, and pal. But it's almost like I want to have a ghost account sometimes because like I want to say some shit and I can't, and I just gotta stuff it down and be like, you know what, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up, Travis. Because you know what else I find a lot too, Frank, dude, that's super annoying is like, if I don't know something, and this is like a lesson that people should really like heed to. If you don't know anything, don't be afraid not to put your 2 cents in. Like somebody said something the other day and they and asked a question and they responded with an answer and they were matter of fact about this answer. Like it was, and they were completely wrong. They had no idea what they were even talking about.
Yeah.
But the way they answered the question was like, oh, it's this and it's that and it's from this. And I'm looking at the thing and I'm like, nope, nope, and nope. It's not from that at all. It's from this, and this is why, and this is the reason. And I backed that up with a bunch of great information, and they ended up deleting the comment because I guess they felt stupid. I wasn't like a total dick about it. But here's my point with that. It's like, if you don't know something, or if it's a maybe, or you're unsure, don't even answer, man. Like I posted a question the other day. Like I needed to know an answer. I think about the O-rings for fuel injector. Like my boy Sonic sent me some fuel injectors, and I wasn't sure about what O-ring went into the manifold because with the Skunk 2 Ultra, it almost is like you could fit 2 in there for what I had, and so I needed to know an answer. And you should have seen my DMs with like just guesses and whatnot. And it's like, I can guess, if you had this done and it's on your car, please respond, if you're 100%. And I got like 30. Well, it could be. Yeah. Well, maybe. And I'm like, yo, dude, I don't need to know that. Save that, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah, I go through that a lot with Facebook. I use Facebook mostly for like, to get ideas. I'll throw an idea out there to gauge like where everybody's consciousness is at, and it'll plainly say in the post what I'm asking for, what I'm looking for. One of the things was just everything that's going on right now. It was basically a yes or no kind of question, and everybody was just writing paragraphs. And I actually said, like, please no paragraphs, just a yes or no. And they're writing paragraphs, and then it just got me to think, like, this has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with them wanting to help me answer the question. This all has to do with ego. Everything.
Yeah. You're right.
That's what I've come to, even what you're saying right now, that's ego. Oh, I know. Travis, you don't know this? I know this. You know, and it's just the ego itself has done me so much disservice throughout my life. And I've only been realizing that in the last, 3 to 5 years that I've been noticing what ego has really done to me, what it actually shows people who have been through that route before. And ego is the biggest weakness that you can have. And the bigger your ego is, the weaker that you look to somebody who's been through those times before, and that they've realized what that does. Like ego doesn't do anything but hold you back, and it makes you look like an ass, just like a lot of those things that you're talking about.
Right. You know what comes across, it hits my head every time I catch myself. And it's that shirt that says, before you criticize somebody, you should probably realize that you're a piece of shit. And that always goes through my head before I, you know, respond. But I like to talk I like to talk car stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you're a decent dude and you've got some experience, and not to say that I don't like to talk to somebody that doesn't know anything, even though I kind of try to shy away from those people just because. And there's nothing wrong with those people at all. It's just I like to be around people that know more than me so that I can know more.
Yeah.
I want to be with people who have way more money than me so maybe I can get some of that bread. And I don't need you to, give me no bread. I don't even need you to really like show me how. I just want to absorb
Yep.
some of what you got going on because obviously you're doing things that I'm not. And so I don't really, have so much time as to be with somebody that's not experienced. It's like wheeling motorcycles. I remember I used to ride bikes, and there was a point I'd be trying to wheelie, and it was going nowhere. There were like little like whack, 9 o'clock wheelies and shit.
Gotcha.
And so I started to ride with some dudes that were good, and the next thing you know, I was like damn near halfway down the shore on one wheel switching lanes.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, and just from riding with people that were better, it's the same thing with skateboarding. You skate with people that are better, you start doing some shit that you maybe weren't even willing to try prior. You know what I mean? It also gets you hurt.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword. But I like to be with people that are better. But on the same on the flip side of that, I don't want to be a hypocrite too, because I kind of keep to myself, dude. I don't know. A lot of people from my high school died and whatnot, and just a lot of losers and shit. So like, and then the ones that did good moved away. So I kind of keep it to myself. Me and my wife, and sometimes I meet cool people, but I can count on my one hand the amount of people that I consider friends.
Yeah.
Like real friends, and I keep them close, which I think is good. I don't need to have 150, friends. That's just. But
I think that's really a good sign of somebody's character who just keeps to themselves, has a small circle, and isn't friends with everybody. Friends versus acquaintances is a totally different story. And the older that you get, the more experiences that you have, you obviously go through a lot more shit, and you just realize, damn, like nobody really cares about you besides this handful of people. If something happened to you today, if it's not posted online, if you don't go online and say, hey guys, I got in an accident, I broke my leg, or what have you, how many people are really going to know? Right. Not how many people are really going to care. Not that many. So it really shows me that like you've been somewhere. You've been around, you know what you want in a person, you know what you want in a conversation, you know what you want when you spend time with somebody. And that's not having to gain something from them, not to get something, but it's more about my time is valuable. So if I'm sharing this time with you, we're going to build something. We're going to leave this interaction having a great time. Whether we're talking about old stories, whether we're talking about cars or whatever it was, we're going to have a good time because we're not talking about bullshit. Because that part of my life is done. I'm done talking about bullshit, done wasting time on nonsense that doesn't make anything progress,
Right,
At least that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. It's just, there's so many distractions. It's just important to, find a goal, stick to it, and, progress forward from there. It's just, you can end up going so many ways. And I noticed that, like, I've got, this is off topic, we've kind of been going everywhere, which is cool about our conversations, you know what I mean? But, like, I know, like, it's almost like when I was growing up, I was good at everything, but I wasn't amazing at that one thing. So I don't have kids, and I'm not going to, but I have a couple buddies that I know that have kids, and I spoke about this with them, and I'm watching the kids and them and how they are, and instead of being great at everything but not killer in that thing, I'm watching like my one buddy steer his kid towards dirt bikes, and I mean this kid's 5 years old and he's ripping wheelies, and he's unbelievable. And kind of that's how like I think it should be. Like the kid enjoys it. He's not getting forced to do it, and maybe he's going to be the next Travis Pastrana.
Yeah.
And that's rad. Rather than having the kid be baseball, football, then we're going to golf, then we're going to go do piano, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
it's probably and I don't have kids, so I don't want to speak like I know, but I'm sure it's important to have activities. But man, you can almost breed them if you want. It's like Europe, dude. It's like, you ever like see, I'm rather than drag racing, I'm more into like road racing, right? So I have some time at road racing tracks and events. And you ever watch like, and this is another funny thing is like, man, wow, you go out there, you say you just built, you're in your car 70 G's, and then you have like and you're out there on track, and you've got these kids with CRXs with 7 different color body panels on them, and they're 17 years old, and they think they're going to be the next whoever, and like, oh, I'm going to be a professional race car driver. And it's like, dude, that's the dude you got to watch out for, because that's the dude that's going to be in your quarter panel, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm seeing on East Coast things is like a lot of overly excited people. And you want to be like, dude, yeah, you're going to be a professional race car driver. Forget the guy in Europe who's had his kid in a shifter cart since he was 2.
Yeah.
Go, and running MotoGPs and shit. But, they don't want that kid. They're going to want you, who got his license at 17 and has a 18 color CRX. Yeah, you're going to be the next pro race car driver. Like, yeah, I know. But, that's how it was at some of these events. And, man, I love doing it. But you buy that house and it just gets crazy because you figure, it's $250 just to go.
Yeah.
And now, like, me personally, I'm not going to front and try and tell you I'm a great driver. I'm whack, dude. You know what I mean? The car far exceeds like my capabilities, right? And to furtherly press on that, like, when you first go, they'll line you, when you go to get your license, they'll line you up like 10 cars, and the instructor's in the first car, and then you're not allowed to pass. So you do a couple laps with the instructor in your car, and then when you're done, you go to the end, and the guy gets into the car that was behind you, and he drives with them before you're going to get issued the license, and you can pass.
Gotcha.
And this goes, and the line just everybody, the guy that was in front goes to the end, and that's how it goes. Well, the guy gets in my car, and I had a nice car, you know what I mean? I always try and make them as nice as I can. So it was a nice car. It was like 550 horsepower, pump gas, and he gets in my car, and man, this dude chopped like 4 seconds off my fastest lap.
Oh shit!
Never drove my car before. Like, made me look like a retard. And I'm like, wow, it's because like they know the track, they know the apexes that they need to follow. Whereas my skills, I'm relying on that I had brand new tires, and I'm all chopping at the wheel. And a good driver, you'll get, say like you'll get 4 events out of, you run 15 minutes, and you probably get like, I don't know, like 6 15-minute runs in a day. Well, in 6 15-minute runs, dude, I just killed a set of $1,000 tires. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas these guys that know what they're doing, they'll get them tires to last like 3 events. So being the guy with the house and other bills and adulting, you want to try to go to the track. It's $250 to go, $1,000 for tires. So now I'm at $1,250. I haven't eaten. I haven't put no fuel in the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's been $1,250. So it's an expensive. That's why I give these guys a lot of credit. I remember when Ryan was building that orange Integra.
Yeah.
And dude, I just wanted to, you want to reach out and strangle people. They're like, oh, well, you're not going to drive that car on track.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to drive that. And you just feel like, well, imagine it was your 80 grand. Are you going to go drive that on the track? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you almost want it's super easy to be like a keyboard warrior and not put yourself in somebody else's, position.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas you could get on that track and anything could happen in amateur racing, bro. That 80 grand, you could put it into a wall in the first 4 minutes, and bro, that's gone.
Yeah.
Done. That's like something that goes through my head too, because like I've always had a goal to get into that magazine D Sport. I've had like a love affair with D Sport.
Yeah.
for so long now, and I've always wanted to get into that magazine, and so I'm like, all right, I want to get my car into that magazine, and then I want to use it a little bit for promotion for Trust Fab. I think that'll be valuable, and then I want to take the car to the track. But then there's the Travis that's like, wow, 16-year-old CRX guy is gonna put that CRX into my quarter panel, and this whole thing can be taken away. 6 years going on now of saving and going without, in an instant gone. Like, that's something that was really cool that I just noticed is one of them dudes that got some aero recently from Cody from Love Fab. I think it's like called Infinity Aero or something like that. It was a beautiful car. It had I guess Cody made a front lip for it, and it was a road race car. And I guess he put the car into the wall. Something happened. Or somebody hit him, and he ended up in the wall. And the community, and talk about like the correct usage of a GoFundMe. Because like it drives me nuts when I see GoFundMes for like buy my like engine.
Yeah.
That's just nuts to me. I can't even imagine. That's like everything that's wrong with the world, in my opinion. In one post with help me GoFundMe my engine, bro. Come on, dude, like get real. But so he put something happened to the car. They raised like 15 or 20 grand to help rebuild this car that was taken away in an instant, which I think is, just humbling and totally rad. When I see stuff like that, I get stoked to be involved in the motorsport stuff. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So
yeah, man, it's you touched on a lot of subjects. Keyboard warriors, they're always going to be there, but when you deal with these people so many times, and then you meet them in person, for the last
you're really good at handling them, man.
Yeah,
you almost with kindness.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I've learned, because I've done it the other way, and a lot of the time I came up on top, but I still felt like shit because I felt like a bully, and I was bullied when I was younger, and I don't want to be a bully to somebody who, just because I don't know if they're having a bad day, but they want to say something dickish to me, so I take everybody that I can to attack them, make them feel like shit. And then now everybody's laughing and having a good time, but who knows how that dude feels? He feels like shit. And then now maybe his girlfriend that they had plans, they're going to have a bad night. And if he has kids, it's going to go to them, So with me, I don't like making people feel bad. So if there's something that really needs to get addressed, we're going to address it in person. And then when we address it in person and I see that it's like, oh, what's up, man? I'm like, okay, I'm giving my attention to these people who are just clowns online and they don't have anything else to do. And now that's my fault, So right. Now the best I could do is, like, someone was saying some shit yesterday. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And that's it. And I'll just leave it. And then somebody else will like kind of go at his comment and break it down how I would want to break it down. But it's like, I don't need to do that for what? So then they could screenshot it and like, wow, look at how professional this guy is. Yeah, like, it goes that way.
They baited you and set you up on that. Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
And I've seen so many pussies do that, dude. And I'm just like, bro, I don't even want to ever talk to you. If you ever see me at the track, just don't see me, because I'm gonna not see you. We're just gonna walk by each other and that's it. You don't exist in my life, because the way that you handle stuff is like a child, dude. And like I gotta move past that. Like I said, you only have a certain amount of time during the day, and I'd rather focus that on answering emails or texts or messages or what have you, rather than have this exchange with somebody who, even if it ends right then, they're still gonna go home and be salty about it, and then you'll see something salty later, and I'm like, what the fuck? I thought we were whatever.
It was done.
I thought it was done. It's not, dude. So it's just, you have to learn how to be able to handle it in a way that's diffusing to them, because all they want is to get a rise out of you. That's all they're asking, is to get a rise out of you. Yeah. And if they don't get that rise, they're just like a child that's just like tugging at your shirt. If you ignore them, they're just going to walk away. And that's how I see it nowadays. Okay, everybody, we're going to take a quick break for our sponsors and we'll be back in 1 minute. Hilto Automotive has been a supporter of Downtime with Downstar for quite some time now, and we know that they're in your corner, that they got your back, whether you're under a car or you just need some help. No matter your race, creed, engine platform preference, that motto stands true. Accord, Civic, S2000, any Honda, any customer, anywhere in the world, with equal respectful treatment for all. We at Downtime with Downstar share these values, and as a special gift to Downtime listeners, they are giving you guys a special deal. Using the Let's Deal function at the top of HeelToAuto.com, you'll find an option to request a special quote. Submit a special quote using the key phrase, "I'm down with Downstar." Once again, the key phrase is, "I'm down with Downstar," for a special deal on whatever you're shopping for. And of course, if you need any help, Marcus from Hilto is available by call, text, email to help out. Hilto wishes you guys a happy, healthy, and safe 2020. So I know a lot of you guys are questioning, what is this whole cult thing that's going on? Well, we at Downstar are starting our own cult. What is it? Are you going to have to drink punch? Are we going to sleep with your wives? No, none of that yet. But what it is a direct number to us, meaning me, Frank Downstar. I'm the one that's answering the text. So please, right now, text us, 818-403-3473. You're just going to have to follow a couple simple steps, get added to your contacts, and text us. Let us know what you're thinking of the episode so far. If you guys have any questions, anything like that, anything, even want to talk about life, man, just shoot us a text. We're here to help you guys out, and we're here to have some fun, man. And that's what the cult's about. So come join the cult. 818-403-3473. No charges. We're not going to be selling your info. No bullshit like that, guys. Just straight up fun. So make sure you guys shoot us a text right now. 818-403-3473. And enjoy the rest of the episode. Have a good day.
Yo, what's going on with what do you got, a Chevelle, right?
Yeah, I have a Chevelle, 69 Chevelle. I got it running
6 months ago. I saw you had something planned for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just get bored after a while. It's been under the sheet for a minute now. It's running, fuel injected, supercharged, like it's ready to go.
What's up doing for the fuel injection, Holly?
No, we did I don't know who makes it, but it's Fuel Tech. I don't know if it's by Holly, but it's a Fuel Tech one.
Right. Cool.
So
cool.
I did that because I didn't want to get rid of the supercharger. I've had that supercharger forever. I've always loved the root style, but if I was to do it again, I wouldn't even go with a small block. I would go with like a LS, I would go with the LS, go full fuel injected, and then do like maybe even like a turbo kit on it.
Right.
But after time, your mind starts changing on the things that you want to do, the way that you want to go. And so
that's a dangerous point too. It's like sometimes I find myself, because I'm all over the place with where my spending's at. One day, I'm looking to buy, some Air Max 1s from 03 that are just ruthless money, and then, you do it and it's like, wow, that was an epic mistake.
Yeah.
The next day it's like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, let me get into this car. And, it's funny because the last couple times I was ready to like, I'm at the point now where everything's like $4,000. You know what I mean? There's no more like fun stuff to buy. It's over. Everything's $4,000 or $5,000. It's like at a time. Yeah. And sometimes you need two of those $4,000 or $5,000 things even to like have them work together. So it's kind of like depressing, but as the money goes up, I start to look at it and it's like, wow, do I even want to spend that money now?
Exactly.
It's like hard. I've done all this work specifically to buy this shit, and now that I have the loot, it's like, damn, I don't want to spend that money now. Yeah. So it's almost counterintuitive, but there's a company that I'm about it with, and they're in Europe. Uh-huh. They make some of the raddest windows that I've ever seen. They're slider kits, because again, I'm going for a road racing car. Think like something you'd see on 24 Hours of Le Mans type shit, but a Civic. And so wow, they make these badass sliders for the Lexan windows, and they're just the quality is noticeably different. So anyway, long story short, it was like 2 grand for the windows and shit. So I hit them up. I'm like, hey, I'm ready to make a move on these windows. How do we move forward? And they're like, we're closed for 4 months for coronavirus. And
Ah,
I'm like, all right, cool. So I move on to the next thing. I'm like, all right, because when I'm building, I like to I like to focus on one area because everything's so expensive. It's like, all right, let me knock out everything fuel related right now
yeah,
before I buy anything else. I need 8 injectors. I need the lines. I need all the fittings. I need the intake manifold, the fuel rails, the pressure regulator. What am I going to do for pumps? Check the rule book. What do I need?
oh shit,
I need the FIA sticker. Do I need, I want to run E85. I can't have a bladder, or the foam is not going to work in my case. I'm like, all right, let me get this fuel tank. So I was checking radium, and because I need to carry some fuel, I want 22 gallons.
oh
So
shit,
yeah. No, I'm gonna end up putting it where So imagine rear wheel drive and you want to hold some fuel. Really, your only option is like how Hub City like wants to do it, where you have one tank on one side of the drive shaft and another tank on the other side of the
gotcha.
drive. So it's actually two. And when you fill it, you use OEM location. And this is why I don't like, and I don't know if this is how they do it, but in my head, this is how it would be. So you fill one tank, and then there's going to be a pump in there that fills the other tank
Gotcha.
from that first tank. Now that's starting to get super complex. I don't want to do that, and I'm still not getting 22 gallons if I went that route. So I'm just going to go where the spare tire is, and
Yeah.
you're allowed to build the cage, weld it to the car, and put that 22-gallon cell in there. And all you need now, according to the rule book, is a firewall. So where the back seat would be on an EM1, and I bought the bead roller because I planned, to do. And this is what sucks. I laid out the cage thinking that I was going to put the plastics back in the car, and I am ended up not going with plastics back in the car. I'm going to make bead rolled, metal panels. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to end up going that route. The problem was I already had made some bends, and the
Mm.
plastics stick out like 3-4 inches wider on each side. So now if you're going to sheet metal, the cage is now way smaller than what it should be. You want to go as tight as you can to the out of the car so you can weld gusset plates to it. So now all that pre-bent metal is no good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, yeah, let me check radium, and they're there. So I'm like, I'm planning out the system, and then it gets to the point when you're about to pay, and it's like out of stock, back order, no ETA, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, all right, so that's not happening. So, and then something else, I lined something else up that I was ready to buy. And again, it's coronavirus, is
Yeah.
not open, and now it's to the point where that mask is just annoying me. Like I'll end up parking the car, walking like, a city block to the store, and then realize I don't have that mask and have to turn back around mid temper tantrum talking to myself. The car, like, God damn it, you goddamn mask, you know. And then you get the people that want to start, not wearing the mask, and they're just looking for confrontation. I can't tell you how many people out here will like go in a store, load up a cart, and then go to pay and be denied service, and then throw like. Meanwhile, they walked in the store, and I don't agree with the masks. I think it's stupid, but I have to respect maybe that you do believe in it.
Mm.
So I'll wear mine just to, not to give you a reason to have a problem. Well, these people go in there no mask and they get denied service, and then they freak out.
Yeah.
And the first thing that they do is looking for the phone, to video the conference.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, just put the mask on, bro, and keep it moving. Like, I got places to be. I don't need to be behind you. You want to have your like thing for the gram. You're
Yeah.
just stuck for the gram, dude. You know what I mean? Like, put the mask on. So I don't know. That's kind of a bummer. How is it by you with that?
I mean, some places you have to wear it. If you don't have to wear it, I'm not wearing it. The only time I'll wear a mask is when I have to, like you have to wear it to go into this store. We're gonna go check out a house later on today, and you're gonna have to wear the mask. But speaking of the coronavirus stuff, I have been doing as much research as possible on it since February, since it was popping in China. When in China it was barely, people were dying on the streets and everybody's wondering what's going on. I was following it since then. So at the point that I'm at right now, all the things that I've seen, everything changing, I'm over it. And if I get it, I get it. So be it, whatever's going to happen, but I'm going to live my life how I'm going to live my life. And this is me talking. Anybody listening, you guys can handle it however you want, whatever you think. And I'm not trying to make anybody think anything differently, but I'm really strong about my rights and people infringing on my rights. And basically how I live life is let me live my life. Don't interrupt me and I won't interrupt you. And that's how I love it.
And they were so quick to give up those rights.
So quick, dude. And that really hurt me so much. But then again, it's just making me understand where people's mentalities are. What information are they spewing on their social medias? And then I get to see this person, this business, this company, what have you. And then it gets me to think a little differently about them. Well, you're saying something that I've already done research on that is not proven. So you're spouting stuff that either it's not true or you didn't do any due diligence besides the clickbait title. And you're talking about what's wrong with society. That's what's wrong with society, in my point of view, is people not taking the time to look into things deeper. And we wouldn't have so many prejudices that go on, not even with race, but with people in power, celebrities and things like that. If you dug deeper, it's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about children that are being trafficked, and that's all I'm gonna say. And that's on both sides, and that's a deeper, darker story that nobody wants to tackle. And I don't think that people even realize that shit's going on. But and that's why I don't really mind the change that's going on, because I feel the way that we've been living as a society needs to get fucking mixed up, man. And this shit needs to come to light for sure.
Dude, you're right. Things are on a downward spiral for sure, which is a bummer. What I was thinking of on the interesting side, as far as that is concerned, I'm like, a lot of corporations probably previously were hesitant to allow people to work from home, but they basically got a free, forced upon them, trial
test. Yeah.
You better believe that somebody was there to see what productivity looked like. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of places where you're going to see retail office space just being ghostly vacant buildings. Because, if I own the company, let's be realistic about it. See, it's funny because my wife used to work from home 3 times a week. But then when everybody got forced to, they have some thing in I don't know, you don't have a say in the matter or not. It's like every X amount of minutes, if there's no activity on your keyboard, it takes a picture. And if you're not there in front of the computer at your house, it happens X amount of times, it'll send an email to HR.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, bro. So basically, if I own that company, and I was like, man, it's costing me $50,000 in electric.
Yeah.
1,000 for internet and insurance and all this shit, and then not to mention the rent for the building. Some of those office buildings, it's like $100,000 a month. And my productivity is the same. Why, with them working from home? Why am I going to rent this building?
Yeah.
So I think that may end up being a cool thing. Another bummer that I was bummed about was how quick that the toll collectors. I don't know what it's like out there by you, but there's not that many jobs out here where you could be a dummy and make $80,000.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? They kind of put a beating on garbage men out here. That used to be a decent job where you can make 80, 90, 100 grand and be a dummy. So how quick that they ended up staying home. Yeah. You'd never get me out of that toll booth, because what happens is they do toll by mail. And then they start with the bullshit where, oh, well, we don't need you guys. We'll just toll by mail it. And, it was kind of retarded, because I'm getting toll by mail where they sent a letter to my house looking for 25 cents.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? It cost you more, what is it, 37 cents to send you just lost money. Plus you have to pay for the credit card transaction.
Yeah.
It just cost you $1 to get a quarter out of me.
Yeah.
So, because I'm one of them anti-Easy Pass people. I've never had an Easy Pass in my life. I refuse to uh, subject to Easy Pass. You know what I mean? When I used to ride bikes, and even when I had my cars, and I don't want to incriminate myself, but I was a big fan of the plate flipper. I
Oh
love
shit.
that plate flipper was ill.
Oh
You
no
should
way.
get down with the grimy with the plate flipper, dude. Yeah, right before you had a solenoid, and basically right before you get to the toll, you hit the button and bink, it would just flip to I mean, I know some people that would have another plate, but that's when you get into trouble. But if you just have nothing, it's black, and you hit the button and it quick. I'm not talking about like no whack, turning like this slow type shit. Mine used to like whack just to black. So when you're going through that toll, say it was $8,
Whoa.
$16 toll, you hit that button, boom, it flips up. You're golden, dude. You know what I mean?
That reminds me of Harold and Kumar. You ever see that movie?
Yeah, yeah. I think, but I don't remember. Like,
They run the toll and one of the dudes gets so upset about it and throws out the weed because they don't want the cops to come. But it was probably by you. I don't know, Cherry Hill.
yeah, that's 40 minutes from me. You know what's funny, man? I notice when you watch these movies, there's always a New Jersey plate, or the movie's always in New Jersey. You know what I mean?
What's
It's
funny,
funny.
dude, is on my door right here is my favorite movie ever, and it's Garden State. You ever seen that movie?
Isn't that the movie with what's the chick in that movie?
What's her name? Natalie Portman and Zach Braff
Yep.
from
Yep.
Scrubs, I think it was. He was on
Yep.
Scrubs, but yeah, that's my favorite movie. And before I even went to Jersey, it was my favorite movie. And now when I watch it, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty Jersey-ish.
Do you remember back the first time you went out here? Like, was that the dopest one for you?
It was 2012. I went with some buddies from West Virginia,
Okay.
and West Virginia and Baltimore. So I had two buddies out that way that I just knew from forums, and it was funny that you say that you said that I could stay at your pad. I probably had something else going on because I would have done that because in 2010 I did it with these dudes. I just knew them from online, just forums, and I was like, hey, I'm coming out to H Day, and then they just messaged me, hey, you stay at my pad, and it was one of the greatest times, dude. And we stayed on what is that,
No,
18, that highway?
yeah.
Yeah, by the Hooters right there.
Uh-huh.
There's like
Yeah.
a hotel right by the Hooters, and I think I got a rash from that hotel because I ended up coming home with a rash. There's probably bed bugs or some shit there. I don't know, but it was a good
Yikes.
time, man. It was a culture shock for sure.
Yikes, dude. Yeah. How was the first time to Japan?
Fucking awesome, man. I recommend Japan to everybody, not just car people, to everybody. That's the best place that I've ever been besides
Really?
California. Yeah. I
Wow.
love it, dude. And one of the reasons is that everybody leaves you alone. Nobody bothers you. Everybody is doing their own thing. So nobody's in your way. Nobody's bugging you. No one's asking you anything. You just go and just do your own thing, and that's it. And I just love that about Japan. And everybody's so respectful. There's not trash everywhere. And it's just they have a very good common decency, which we do not have here. Because once you land in the U.S., you can tell that you're in the U.S. And it makes me feel like
Right.
this is not the right place for me. Although I'll never leave the U.S., I'll probably never leave California. I really wish there were some things that we could adopt from the Japanese culture here, because people they just want to get in other people's business. They're disrespectful for no reason, and you're infringing on somebody else's life, their freedom, and their time, and their day, whatever they have going on. You know,
Yeah.
and it's a great place, man. You should check it out one day.
I always thought that too. Like I was never gonna leave New Jersey. I loved it. Granted, like I said, I don't think I could have grown up in a better place. There was just everything. Everything was here, like cars, like skateboarding, and just anything that you want. And like, it was just great. And like, I don't know how it was for you, but like going to my high school was like it was so rad, dude. Everybody was friends. It was just sick. Like there was no like, you know, we do our own like camping trips where like 300 people. We had a big
No
graduating.
way.
Dude, we would do our own camping trips where like 300 people would come out, like
Wow.
from our senior class. It was just bananas, dude. It was just sick. Yeah, the whole thing was a party basically, and sometimes I'm like, damn man, maybe I should have done a little bit better with my studying and stuff. You know what I mean? That gets back into that. I'm never satisfied with what I have.
Yeah.
And in all reality, I need to be like, you know what, I'm doing pretty good. Um, but what can I do to get better? You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
let's tap into that, dude. So you say that you always want to keep progressing. When you reach the level of success in whatever thing that you're doing, what's the automatic thought that comes right after that? Say you finish a build. What's the thought that comes right after that that makes you feel like you're not settling?
Like as far as it goes with like the rears and stuff, I kind of like because that really took off initially when I first started welding because I'd always been building cars, always since 17 years old. I
Mm-hmm.
probably owned like 30 SI hatchbacks, no bullshit.
Gotcha.
I've had so many Hondas, and it was always let me build this one up. And the crucial mistake, and I don't know if it was a mistake in the long run of looking at things, but it was always like, all right, I'm going to do this and get rid of this to get to the next one,
Yeah.
to get to the next one, to get to the next one. But maybe that next one wasn't, if I would have just focused on the one, it could have, but like, you got to live and learn. Like like let me get rid of this and some cash. You end up with a Lexus, and then I don't like the Lexus anymore, and let me get back to this. And
Yeah.
oh, I finally was like, I'm not gonna I'm not getting rid of any more cars. So now, if I buy a car, I'm keeping it for forever. That's my thing. So like, I have a couple cars. I got a old 911. I got a S2000. I got the Civic, and my beater is the S500 Benz,
Mm-hmm.
and so all them cars are gonna stay, and there's gonna be an American car in the mix there too. So
Nice.
welding was the next progression, right? Because it's so dope to be able to go out and just make something out of nothing. Or if I need something, it's almost invaluable to be able to do it without, because it's easy to see somebody that's a consumer and what they go through versus I can whip that up in my garage in 2 seconds and it'll be amazing, like, so that was the aspect of welding and fabrication. Now, initially, and it was weird because a lot of welders don't want to help other welders. They don't want other people to get into welding. They don't want other people, because they want to do it themselves. They feel like, there's already enough. And, nobody wants to give anybody any tips or secrets or anything like that. So actually, Brad from AFI Turbo,
Mm-hmm.
I went out to Arizona. I bought a couple turbo kits from him. And I started talking about welding, and you would think that he'd be like, nah, it's hard, or you don't want to do it, or blah, blah, blah. But he was like, all for it. And he was, yeah, you got to get this. You should do this. You should do that. He's like, oh, so I basically had like a little in on what, I should do and what I shouldn't do. So I ended up starting to weld, and I'd sit there and I would just, I had access to a lot of scrap metal, and I started just sitting there and ripping bottles and watching YouTube videos. And if I had a question, I'd call him, and, it kind of took off from there. So as far as like what's next, basically so then the rear all-wheel drive thing happened, and then I'm kind of just sitting here like waiting for that bubble to pop almost. I don't know when it will, but I feel like in a couple of my other buddies that make carrier bearings, or that we work hand in hand with parts or
Yeah.
whatever, we're all kind of just sitting back and waiting for it to pop. Like there's in reality no reason why that Wago van rear should be $1,800 in 30-year-old condition. You know what I mean? Previous to all-wheel drive, it used to be a $100 or a throwaway thing.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for that point when somebody's gonna come up with something that's based off of the Wago van, that's billet, that's affordable, that's not basically so that anybody could be all-wheel drive. Because the way that I look at it now is you need 12, in my opinion. Yes, you can do it another way. That's not something that I'm interested in doing. When I get into something, it's going to be all the way, or I'm not going to do it at all. So it's like, in my opinion, you need 12 G's, and that's on the low end. If you want to build an all-wheel drive car and you don't have anything, you need 12 grand. So,
like, you mean anything from the motor back, or everything?
If you want to, in my opinion, you need 12 G's if you want to go from trans to the rear end. Just between the kit that holds it in there, the Wagovan parts in OEM condition, rebuilding them so that you protect your investment. Because a lot of people overlook that fact. Is like, man, these parts were for an 89 horsepower car, and now you think that you're gonna pump 850 horsepower to it, it's gonna be okay? Bro, that's, you know what I mean? That's not gonna happen. And another thing that they don't realize is a lot of the stuff inside of there is irreplaceable. So if you chip a tooth on the high poid gear ring, take the whole thing, dude, and just chuck it, because it's garbage. You can't get another. You know what I mean? And then the same thing with the discs. That's why it's cool that dude is bringing a billet viscous coupler. Now, I always say, like, that part isn't under stress. It doesn't need to be billet. But in reality, how else would you make it nowadays?
Yeah.
You don't have you're not going to forge it,
Yeah.
So,
what was his Instagram?
I think it's Wef Shit Up, something like that. WEF Shit Up.
Okay.
He's a nice kid. I spoke to him a couple times. That was actually where that question came up with somebody not knowing something about something.
Got you.
This colored disc, and he was like, "Oh, well, that's going to be from low fluid or something like that." And it completely wasn't. What happened was a circlip came off from improper installation. That viscous coupler is actually really, a pain. Not that it's super tough to put back together. It's just really tedious, and the fluid smells horrible, and it's super thick, and it gets on everything. And there's an order that they need to go back together. And if you don't put it back in that order, the whole thing is finished. So somebody didn't put it back together right. The circlip shifts on a shaft, and it basically came off. And once it comes off, all hell breaks loose inside there, and shit starts going on its own way, and plates were getting damaged. But he had said it was from lack of fluid, and that's why it looked like that, which definitely wasn't the case. But anyway, the kid was super appreciative that, to find out what it was. And, I hadn't spoken with him prior, and I looked at what he was offering, and it looks like a nice product. So that's another cool aspect, is all the new stuff that regular dudes, it's not like, and man, I love K-Tune to death. And they're kind of a big company.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like little dude in his garage is bringing this to market. And how rad is that? You know what I mean? That he had the balls to go to the CNC shop and have this made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or he took the initiative or put the money out to have it done. Is pretty rad.
Yeah.
So a lot of the new parts that are coming out, but what I do like, and it's important to note, is that all these new parts that are coming out, they are based off of Wagovan. So all you guys that are CRV this and that, listen, that it's my opinion, but my opinion I think matters a little bit. I'm kind of OG here. That CRV stuff is garbage, bro.
Gotcha.
Like the way that the plates operate, it's almost like if you can imagine, the CRV rear has the viscous coupler inside of it, but that's not to your advantage. Versus the Wagovan, that viscous coupler is its own thing, and you can put an LSD in the Wagovan one, versus having the friction discs inside of the rear end itself. It makes it bigger. And now how are you going to, have a true four-wheel drive car? You're not. You're going to have a three-wheel drive car with a pin rear, or you got to buy some weirdo kit and put that in there. And
Gotcha.
I'm doing it one way, doing it the right way, and that, in my opinion, is the right way. And I guess a lot of people subscribe to that mentality as well. Because, like I said, if you're going to do it right, bro. Like, I seen a picture the other day. They're piecing together like OEM spindles with, parts from 7 different cars. Can you imagine, in a pinch, trying to like
Yeah.
explain to the auto parts car guy what you need. Like, I don't know, man. If you're gonna spend the money, spend it right and do it
The
once.
first
And
company that comes out with a full plug and play kit where you could just spend 10 grand, you get the trans, the rear end, you get everything brand new. That's the company that we need. And
yeah,
that's what's going to help this all-wheel drive stuff keep going. But if
and that's definitely the future,
yeah,
without a doubt. I mean, this basically was like it's always had a strong following, but this was its second, kick in the ass, in my opinion. I mean, now they're just messing with cars they previously never had any business with. We're getting away from the bad image of the stuffed animals and the bike rack and the loud muffler in the car, going 20 miles an hour,
yeah,
screaming. Hopefully, we're going to start getting some W's and some respect, you know.
got you. Well, I mean, from the outside looking in, I feel like the Honda community's definitely been getting a lot of respect in the last, I'd say, 5 years. Say, come World Cup, there's
Yeah,
always some heavy hitters Hondas out there. But definitely, if this all-wheel drive stuff keeps progressing, it's gonna turn way around where the Honda guys are gonna be the head dogs, and the other ones are gonna be trying to figure out, how we're gonna throw all this power down, how we're gonna get this car down the
yeah.
track, because it's the muscle cars definitely did have a lot of an advantage, but I mean once the playing field starts getting evened out, we'll see where things go, man. I wouldn't be surprised to see these Hondas, getting even a second quicker in the next few years come the technology.
Yeah, you know what it is too is like a lot of those muscle cars, you can't really. A lot of those guys want to mess with the eighth mile, and
Yeah.
we're not even warmed up in the eighth mile. They're
Yeah.
all they're all big end, so they've busted their nut by the time there is no quarter mile for them. You know what I mean? They start going negative mile an hour in the quarter
Yeah.
mile because the gearing's gone. Whereas we're just getting warmed up. It's like that video. I always love posting that video of that Speed Factory car with that Mustang at
Uh-huh.
World Cup.
Yeah.
And the Mustang was just like half a track. The Speed Factory car was nowhere in sight, half track. And then all of a sudden, it just got reeled in on the quick. And the Speed Factory car ate him up. It was that red Mustang, I
Yeah.
think. That was a great video. That was a good video the other night, too, with that Subaru. That was an all-wheel drive, though.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen that video,
No,
it's
that
a
was all-wheel drive.
yeah, it
I'm
was all
sorry.
wheel drive. It was a I shoot you video. They posted up on their YouTube channel. It was an all wheel drive. I was actually talking to Dre about that. He was telling me that the guy, he just really didn't know much about Hondas, and he just had the Honda mentality about it, and he lost like, what was it, like 16 grand or something?
Yeah. I'm surprised the guy with an import like that wouldn't know what was up because, like, I
Yeah.
try and, just like you try and know what's up with most things. I don't want to, be so, I don't want to have the blinders on where I can't appreciate this or I can't appreciate that.
Definitely.
I'll even look at it, one of those silly neons and be like, wow, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things are, if it's a ripper, it's a ripper. It doesn't matter, what it is, in my opinion. I mean, how cool are those MR2s with the K series or
Yeah.
the Lotuses with the K series?
Yep.
Or, it's just, things are just, previously you wouldn't see all these swaps. It's just in the last, like, 6 years, I feel like, that people are really building some shit. I mean, I see some, it doesn't need to be a Honda. I see some killer, yo. Let me tell you something, bro. I'm a big wagon fan, like Volvos, even like the CTSV wagon. I just like,
Ooh.
bro. There's this Volvo wagon, like 80s body style with a twin turbo Ellis in it. This thing is a monster. It's like a 6-second beast. The kid drives it around on the car on the street. It's just like sick. Just absolutely sick. So anyway, my point being, and even like I seen a really cool on what's that thing? It's always badass cars, Speed Hunters.
Yes,
right?
yes. Speed Hunters.
Always badass cars on there, right? And they had an old Mercedes with like a Supra engine in it or something that was just badass too. Like, you wouldn't previously see some of these dope swaps going in. I feel like fabrication is really getting pushed in the right direction too.
Yeah.
You're making great strides. Like, how cool was that car, that bubble with the Evo stuff? I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be an evolution, but I can appreciate that car. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's just cool.
wait till somebody busts out with a 2J Supra, the new body style. I guarantee there's a few people that are working on that right now if it's not out yet.
And what, putting the 2J in there? Yeah, yeah, I bet. I mean, dude, honestly, that trans is one of the best transmissions ever made in ever. That
Yeah.
Get Rag super transmission. That thing is, I mean, there's a reason why I used it's like, 10 grand.
Yeah.
That thing is just a monster. But yeah, things are getting pushed, I think, in the right direction for sure.
Well, then
Which is
you have these wild cards that are helping things go forward. Like what is the thing that you need to make a motor work inside of the car? You need to figure out, the wiring, the ECU, the fab to get it to hold in there, and then basically there's not much after that besides the logistics of where you would put things. But like Ryan being one of my good friends, dude, he's always tapping into so many crazy things. Every time I talk to him, he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been helping this guy wire this. He's putting this motor in this car." I'm like, "What the fuck?" But in reality, if it wasn't for Ryan to be able to like step out of his comfort zone and start doing these kind of one-off jobs, then maybe those things wouldn't happen. Or if there's these ECUs that are coming out and there's people that aren't hacking into them, then that's stopping the production of that
You're
car.
right, 100%. You're exactly right, and that's a big part of it. Not only as far as Ryan and the people that are getting into wiring cars, but there's been a big push in how much better our electronics have gotten. It's just unbelievable. I mean, fuck it. Back in the day when I was building cars, it was the VAFC, the
Yeah.
Apex controller, and you're running your car off of. I mean, you're touching things you got no business touching. With
Yeah.
that little thing popping engines left and right. These guys were in Florida when I lived in Florida for Motorcycle Mechanics Institute, which was another crazy time in my life.
Yeah.
We went out there fresh from high school. Nobody ever lived by themselves prior. And the whole cheerleading squad came and stayed with us. We went there a month before school started.
Oh,
Needless to
shit.
say, dude, we got booted out of our first apartment before school even started. We had to go find our own place to live.
Whoa.
It was just bananas, dude. It's just crazy madness. But yeah, the electronics have come so far, and I linked up with that dude Race Spec that does
Joel,
T1.
right?
Yeah, what a great dude, man. Just great dude. Another dude that's willing to take the time to speak to you, answer any questions that you have. I mean, dude, let me give you an example of this. Who the fuck am I? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm kind of half-assed well-known, right? Okay, cool. I was talking to him about a part. The dude sent me the part.
Yeah.
And then was like, so I'm in a panic because it wasn't a cheap part, right? And so now, I mentioned that, I wanted it. The dude sent it to me, bro. And he was just like, so I hit him up. I'm like, dude, there's a problem. I'm like, I didn't make the payment for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if there's an accounting problem or a shipping problem over there. This thing just showed up. And he's like, bro, you're good for it, man. He's like, just send over the money when you can.
Nice.
I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Like, wow, dude. And this is what I'm talking about, like relationships with people. This is the most valuable thing. You can never burn your bridges, dude.
Yes.
Do what you got to do not to be a scumbag jerk off and build these relationships and build these, this reputation for yourself, and doors will open, things will happen. Like, even with, that's why I'm saying I'm like regular dude over here with no car that I can show you a picture of. You know what I mean? I can show you pretty parts. And like K-Tune, man, believes in what I'm doing. It's amazing. Sean's the same way. Sent me a tensioner the other day, and I just got to be like, dude, Sean, thank you so much, bro. By the way, I appreciate you. You have no idea. And he just sends me the shit like, bro, like, we appreciate what you're doing, the posts. Like, you post those sponsor me things. Like, I've only ever approached like 4 places, and mind you, all my time and fabrication is free. And for my car, so that number is not even, for the normal dude, I don't even know what that number would be. But for me, it's nothing. It's just my time because it's my hobby. But imagine like coming at somebody the way that you said, like, what do you have to offer? So I try and always, offer as much as I possibly can. Like, if I want your parts on my car and I reach out to you to try to get something for a discount or for free, like, I want to earn that some way that I can, and can I plug you? How can I? And that's another thing why I like being a good person and getting your followers up and, having genuine people, that you deal with is just invaluable. That's why the Instagram is like a tool. You can use it to make some friends and some acquaintances, but really it's a tool and it should be used like that. I feel like, and how humbling is it to have somebody send you something for nothing, bro? Like,
that's awesome, man.
Dude, that's and not for nothing, but like, I don't want free shit.
Yeah.
Like, of just junk. Like, if I reached out to you, think about, and I've already spent 50 G's of my own money, but like, I want your part on my car and you end up sending it to me. Like, I believe in what you have already, right? And you just, it's just so humbling, dude. It's amazing. I really don't know what else to say about that. The only other spot I really want to mess with, dude, is like, so I love K-Tuned. I love companies like Racespec. Another one dude opened his own business, amazing. And I want to deal with like Drive Shaft Shop. It's been like a goal. Like, I've had the sport goal. I've had I wanted those couple like sponsors just to say, like, I can buy the part, dude.
Yeah.
Like, believe me, I can buy the part. I'm not scared to spend the money, but it's the fact that you sent me that shows me that you believe in me, man. And it's amazing. Like, now I want to do everything that I can to, like, do right for you. Like, so another one was Drive Shaft Shop, because I've always like had an infatuation with that company and the cars that, represented them, and everybody. Yeah. Products are just amazing. If you look at those products, it's just like serious business. That those 5.9s or the pro level axles, it's just beautiful. Yeah. So shout out to them guys for sure.
I think once you get to the level of trying to relate to these people on a ground level, that's what's really attractive, especially for me. When I talk to somebody and the interaction just goes well, I could feel like they understand where I'm coming from. Maybe that's what's good with you, because you understand where they're coming from, because they're a business owner as well. No matter the level of any of these businesses, at the end of the day, there's somebody that has a family and this is their passion and they're growing it. Whether it's John at K-Tune, Drive Shaft Shop, or, a small company or what have you, dude, all of these people, they'll relate in some sort of way because they've all spent that grind. Now, if there's somebody that comes like yourself that understands that grind that they're putting in, and you have a great conversation with them, and you don't ask them for discounts, you don't ask them stupid questions, you respect their time, dude, I'll help out so many people just for giving me that courtesy. Right. When I go approach people, like yesterday I went to a shop to get the BMW tuned, to just go talk to them. Like, I didn't go in there like, yo, what's up? I'm Frank from Downstar, this and this. I had one of my buddies recommend me because my buddy knows them. So it's like, yo, can you tell them I'm just going to stop by? And then when I'm there, I'm like, hey, man, what's up? I just wanted to see if I can talk to you, just to fill it out, because I don't want this guy to think like, who the fuck is this dude going to come in here having his buddy tell me that he wants a discount or what have you. So, I'm talking to him. He's busy. I'm like, hey, bro, take your time. Whatever you got to do, go ahead and do it, because that's how I would want somebody to treat me. Right. Now, when it's my time to have this conversation, cool, let's do it. Give me the price. Okay, that's the price. Cool. Let me think about it, and then I'll let you know. Talk to the wife. Everything's cool. Call him back. Hey, let's do it. That's how I feel like transactions should go down. Should be.
Did you end up doing it?
Well, I set it up, and it's coming for hopefully this coming week.
So now, what is that going to be? Something flash tuned?
I'm not sure exactly how they do it. The shop out here, it's called Gintani, and it's here in Van Nuys, California. And basically, they're the ones that do a lot of the tuning for like the exotics. It's weird, man. There's a culture here in SoCal, in like the Hollywood area, where there's young entrepreneurs that are just fucking balling, and they take their car to these shops and they'll get wide bodies done, they'll get tunes, the flames and all that shit, exhaust. And, I follow these guys, and a lot of them go to this shop. So it's just a well-known shop. So, I go over there and just like, I'm a Honda dude. I don't know, man. I just managed to get this car, and it was just it was a great interaction. So it made me feel comfortable. And now I'm just like, dude, once I get the tune done, I'm doing the downpipes and stuff. I'm going to do videos of it. I'm going to be talking about it. And now I'm going to do my job to pay them back for them, whatever, if they gave me a break, just having that good interaction. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, is that going to screw you in some way down the road as far as like if you have to when you give it back, or did you bought this thing and that's it?
No. When I give it back, definitely everything's going to have to go back to stock. But the biggest thing with BMW is if you don't plug it in. Once you plug it in, then that sends it to BMW corporate in Germany or what have you. And right there, it's your warranty's void. So as long as you have a way around that, then you're good. It's basically like getting a smog and passing visuals. You know what I mean?
Right.
As long as the place that's smogging it is cool with your visuals, as long as it passes smog, So as long as your car can go in there, they can change the oil, do whatever tune-up shit that they need to, then you're good. So, but that was one of my concerns. So me going over there, I'm telling these guys, look, I'm not a famous dude from Hollywood, so if this motor blows, I'm gonna be fucked, bro. So let's get a little more out of this. Let's get some sound out of it, and I'm Gucci with that,
Yeah, and messing with those BMWs, I like those cars, but I like the older M3s anyway. Like I said, I showed you that car, my buddy, man, like Rowdy's garage, Rowdy M4, like he's a young dude, man. He goes out and buys an M4. How crazy must you be? It just blows my mind. It blows my mind, messing with Civics and stuff that, is as affordable compared to that where a body kit's 30 G's. You know what I mean? It's another ball game, bro.
Yeah.
So how wild must you be to be like 26, go buy an M4 that you're paying payments on and gut it like it was a Honda Civic? You know what I mean? Like, dude, you drove the car for a week, bro. Like, It was a beautiful car. There was nothing wrong with it. And you sold the engine, bro. What are you thinking about? And then he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to put a Elephant engine in it or some shit. He ends up getting like a Elephant crate engine. That engine's like 30 grand, bro. He's like, nah, I don't want to go that way. He's building dude. He's got like a 6-second 3-rotor all billet motor for this thing now. He's like, the kid's crazy, bro. He's shot. And I love that about him. You know what I mean? I love that. There's just those guys out there that are, rad, and I like being around the radness of that. So, Cody, you're an animal, yo.
Shout out to Cody, man. Yeah, I think that's the dope thing, dude. One good example with that I always like to bring up is Alex from Sheepy Built. I've seen Alex start from the beginning, just going to meets just like myself into where he's at now, and I've always kept an eye on him where he's made these jumps, and it literally took just grabbing your balls and fucking doing it.
His story's impressive. Yep.
Going to GTRs, and then just thinking like, okay, well now I want to get into exotics, actually buying a Huracan and then building a kit, like all of that stuff. It's not really that difficult. Like, okay, well if you want to do turbo kits for it, we'll just buy one. But then you're talking about a $200,000 car, and then you're gonna take it apart and do a turbo kit and tune it and shit. That's a lot of risk, but there's a lot of rewards because now he and like underground racing is like the pinnacle. But now they're kind of on each other's radars. They talk to each other and things like that. And that's how you get to those levels, is that you have to take those kind of risk.
You know what, dude? That I've watched that dude's story go. Like I knew from back when the nickel plated TL Integra was around, and it's funny because he's not the dude that's doing the fabrication or the welding. Everybody in those interviews are like, oh, how did you get into welding? He's like, listen, I don't weld and I don't fabricate. So just knowing how to be a businessman is pretty cool.
Definitely.
I know that he does a lot of tuning. I think he's a pretty good tuner, right?
Yeah, he's a really good tuner, and I think he started sharpening his teeth with like the if I'm not mistaken, it was around the time when he was doing work with Chris Miller, when Chris Miller was racing that same Integra. And
Oh,
then he started. Then I seen him. He was doing the Sinister car from NorCal, and
yeah.
then now he's tuning all those cars. I went over to the shop and he's tuning the R8 twin turbo R8, the Huracans, and now they just started Sheepy Tuned, and I believe today is when the website went live. So just knowing how he's going to do it, I'd say within the next year or so, you're going to be able to take any car, BMW, Mercedes, whatever, take it over there and just get Sheepy Tuned. And then that's just another avenue that he's going to take over.
Right. I always try, I always seen him, I'd always see him at events and whatnot. And, I always wanted to, and I'm pretty outspoken. I usually go right up to people.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I just I don't know. I didn't put 100% into it. And I went up to him and I guess he was busy. And, I kind of, it got blown off. And I was like, whatever, you know what I mean? I didn't hold a grudge. It is what it is. Dude's there to do, he's busy. It is what it is. But I was always kind of bummed about that. I was always bummed too back in the day when T1. I used to respect the shit out of Tony Paulo, and I remember how pissed I was when he sold that Integra, and I'm like, oh man, you're going into GTRs now. I'm like, I have no interest in GTRs whatsoever. So now, my infatuation with you is over. You know what I mean? I'm so bummed right now. And then he actually sent me an email. He took the time out of his day and sent me an email. He's like, dude, because I sent him an email. I'm like, dude, it's whack that you completely gave up on Honda. I'm like, that's what made you, bro. You know what I mean? And he's like, that's what you're known for. How do you just, gone?
Yeah.
And dude, don't think of it like that. He's like, think of it as, we're progressing into something, something else. And, thank goodness he's around with I'm a firm believer in injector dynamics.
Oh,
man.
hell yeah.
Dude, that's it. You know what I mean? In my opinion, that is the injector, and all this stuff. Thank goodness he makes it. And his whole story on that Reed Lund thing, dude, it's worth a listen on. Even though it's super old, if you can even still find it, the whole story is cool with the credit cards and running up the debt, and it's just a rad dude. And how rad is it that with your boy from Best Buy or whatever, what's his name,
Raul, yeah.
How badass was it to see, that car get thrown into SEMA? And then I remember I spoke to him a few times. Nice guy. I like the guy a lot. You know what I mean? And then, he don't need to talk to me. You know what I mean? But whatever. We were chilling, and the next thing you know, I see the car on the track.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how rad is that? You know what I mean? Dude had that SEMA, built the car, and now he's ripping it down the track. You know what I mean? I was like, that's cool,
Yeah.
When you see that I'm into that kind of stuff. Right. That takes a set of balls, and you have to have that confidence in yourself and what you built, because a lot of the times people don't take the time to set the shit up right. As far as, dude, corner balancing, the alignment aspect of it, just having the right parts. This is one of those things that I wrote down that I wanted to talk about. Was this story was man, I was building the car. Remember I told you I was taking it to the road racing events and whatnot, and so I remember seeing some pictures of my car, and the brakes were like cherry red up front. So I'm like, you know what? And I noticed that the car wasn't stopping so great, and I'm like, all right, let me upgrade to big brakes.
Yeah.
So I upgraded big brakes. And so I'm thinking that the car is going to stop on, much better now, and I'm in business. What I didn't take into consideration was the fact that I was still running a brake booster that was made for a car that had rear drum.
Gotcha.
So what ended up happening was I should have changed so this is going along with, just because you change one thing, it doesn't mean that it's helping you. You can hurt yourself worse. So I didn't end up putting the Type R booster in, which I should have, in the bigger master cylinder, which I should have, especially I'm not talking drag racing, I'm talking road racing car, you know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people they get rid of the brake booster altogether and just the manual pedal. I'm not into that. That doesn't help me as far as road racing. But so I should have put the bigger booster and the bigger master cylinder, and also you're supposed to run the 40/40 proportioning valve, or what in my opinion is super dangerous, unless you're willing to put in the work, is the adjustable one. The thing is, you end up setting that up flat spotting a lot of tires, because you need to be in all different speeds moving that knob, hitting the pedal, seeing what happens. It helps to have that Motec sensor where you know what the wheel's doing in the back. You know what I mean? Because you don't know when it locks up.
Got you.
If you have that set wrong and you're going into a corner and that's set wrong, you actually lock up the rear. You just sent yourself into a high-speed drift in a two-wheel drive car, front-wheel drive car. You know, there's just so many ways that can hurt you. Anyway, I'm driving the car. I'm like 5 minutes into the 15-minute session. Things are warm, you know, and this is just enough horsepower to be dangerous. 525. Anything above 5, in my opinion, is where things start getting interesting on the street. You know, not even for the track. You need to start anticipating other people, anticipating other cars braking. You know, because you're making moves now. You're going much quicker.
Yeah.
So I'm going into the turn and constantly with the vacuum going up and down because you're on the throttle, you're off the throttle, you're on the throttle. So basically what happened was the brakes were super hot. I went into the turn thinking that I downshifted, and just from that lack of vacuum, bro, I went to step on the brakes and I shit you not, the fucking pedal disappeared on me.
Oh, shit.
It was gone, bro. Brake fade, so there was no vacuum at that point is what happened. I was on full throttle and then I was off the gas altogether, and there was no vacuum being produced, where previously a second ago there was a shit ton of vacuum, and the pedal went to the floor. I had no stopping whatsoever, and I'm going into a turn going 90.
Oh, shit.
And it was just like, bro, one of the worst feelings ever. I was like almost like positive it was all over. And then the only thing that ended up saving me was the fact that turn was banked. And so going from straight to riding the edge, right when I started the edge, before you hit the Jersey barrier, I downshifted and actually gunned it.
Mm-hmm.
That pulled the car the other way, and I ended up not hitting the wall. But, you know, this is a chief example why, you know, just having your suspension set up right. And like a lot of the times people will go with that ASR 32 millimeter sway bar just because their buddy said that it was good. Well, dude, that might be good for one guy. It doesn't mean it's good for your setup.
Yeah.
You know, what that does is it makes the rear wheels not move. So good as far as what, you know, like for drifting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that needs to be matched to one of the number of clicks on your suspension. And all this stuff needs to work out and talk to each other. So that's why I really, you know, just want people to understand the importance and the dangers of upgrading these parts if you don't know what you're doing, you know?
Yeah, well, let's definitely get into it. TrustFab, tell us about what you offer and what are some of the services that you provide.
Well, some of the stuff so I'm the rear wheel drive guy now. So anything that's OEM with a Waggo van, I'm messing with. We have the billet. You know, one of my partner, Turbo TNR. He's actually the originator of that billet carrier bearing, which is a great product. Brand is a great dude, and basically where that product was unique was that the center line was off-centered. So by flipping the carrier bearings around, you could raise or lower your viscous coupler within the engine center channel, which is critical. Previously, some people would do it, and the viscous coupler would be where, you know, your mount dictated where it went. Well, that's not ideal for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just by flipping the carrier bearing around, by having that center line being up here instead of that perfectly in the middle, by flipping them around, you know, you just raised or lowered it, which is a really great idea, you know. So we're looking, we do that. I do the rebuilds of the viscous couplers, and when I do that, you know, that's it probably takes about 3 hours to do. So it's not something that you do at the track.
Yeah.
Rebuilding those, you have a couple options as far as the fluids. You have the 60, you have the 100 weight fluid, and then you have a mix of the two. And basically what the 100 does now, say I've rebuilt 60 of these viscous couplers. Only 3 times or 4 times have I used 100 fluid. So that's going to make the car squat super hard. The fluid's actually thinner. And what it does is it puts more power to the rear wheels. versus the 60 weight, which is going to keep the front wheels dominant, if that makes sense. So the front
Yeah.
wheels are going to spin, and then the rears are going to be there, versus it'll never be where, even with the 100, where it's 50-50
Yeah.
power
Got you.
ratio. It'll never happen because it's got to go through the
Yeah. Yeah.
transfer
Yeah.
drive shaft, the viscous coupler to the rear, to the high point gear ring. It's never going to happen. So, but the 100 brings the ratio closer. So you can imagine when you go to take off and you have a lot of power in the rear, that leads to the smashing of the back of the car. That's really rough on your drivetrain. But that could be it breaks transfer cases. Again, though, that could be the difference of winning, or that
Yeah.
6-second pass, or you know what I mean. So the ones that I've done were for guys that sent me two.
Got you.
So they want one with 60 and one with 100, and they're going to switch it out, which can be done in 5 minutes at the track. So on a shitty track, you're going to use that 100, and on a track that's great, that's sticky, you're going to use the 60.
Got you.
And also we do the rear ends. So basically we take them, they're 30 years old and they were made for a car that made 90 horsepower. So basically what we do is we inspect the whole thing. I try and keep it one-on-one, where I'm sending you pictures the whole time of everything that's going on. I keep it like boutique-ish, so
Yeah.
I stop at 10, because after 10 it starts to get confusing with Instagram names and real names and payments and shipping and this and that. Like, I've always just wanted to be a boutique, and I've wanted people to know who I am. It's important, to me. I don't need to be the biggest shop, but I want you to know who I am, and I want you to know that I'm here if you need, what I offer. So we do a lot of the LSD installs, and so I take a lot of M Factory, single overhead cam VTEC front. It was
diff?
made for the front. Yeah, the diff, and we put those in the rear to make the car truly all-wheel drive. And they say, oh well, this guy doesn't have it, and he does fine, and or this is holding up, and these guys are going off of last year, and it was how many hits did they make? 2?
Yeah.
This year's, none. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's doing fine, but for how long? I know the guys that have been out there testing that have no diffs, and the car pulls to the point where it almost wants to smash into the wall. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Right. It just pulls so hard to the right, or that it's almost undrivable. You know what I mean? So this stuff can be verified too. Pharrell from High Boost, he knows the deal. When I talk to him, he's a great dude to talk to too. He's a character. Without the LSDs in the front and the rear, it's not a 4-wheel drive car.
Mm-hmm.
It's an open rear end. And then we got the fabrication stuff. Sometimes it's difficult to be that guy that fabricates things, because I don't have your car.
Yeah.
And you're trying to have me make you something that's critically fit, and I can't do it without your car. So, but then there's some parts that can be made that I can offer and send to you. And that's some of the more one-off, like fuel mounting solutions, dead pedals, plates, stuff like that, stuff where, there's not 100 of them sitting on a shelf. Maybe you're 5 guys or 10 guys that have it, which is pretty rad. So, that's pretty much where Trust Fab stands now. Things have taken off recently, and who's to say that that's not going to change. I don't know what the future holds. It would be rad to be where I can just work for myself for full time, but it's a difficult thing when you already started to build that life, and you're relying on your union job with the benefits and this and that, and you're used to that take home $1,200 a week and the benefits and the annuity, and now there could be a month where you make nothing. The bank doesn't care that I want to be a fabricator. You know what I mean? They just want their money. So it's just so it's scary not to take that leap, to do like what you've done and the sheepies have done, to really go out and do it. But I'm the biggest advocate to tell people to do it.
Yeah.
But do what's right for you. Don't do it because people are telling you to do it. If you can't do it, you can't do it, and that's it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be unrealistic. and send you on something that'll never happen, and then you end up losing your house, and you want to, murder me.
Well, you're definitely on the right path, man. Ever since we've been following each other, I've seen you come out with, products here and there, the dead pedals, and then seeing you move into this all-wheel drive stuff. I've seen a spark inside of you that is leading towards the right direction, man. Just stay focused on this. You have a niche right now. Keep taking care of it, and these names that you're dealing with are big names in the all-wheel drive stuff, and it's just gonna help spread the word, man. And all of this is we're in a marathon, not a race. You just put a little, and then this year just focus on this, and then just keep building and building. And who knows? It took Downstar from 2009 to 2012 to be able to quit the full-time job to get to where we're at. So, I mean, you just take these opportunities wherever they pop up. Put your knowledge wherever it's being used at, and you're definitely killing it with the all-wheel drive stuff, man. So keep on keeping on, bro. You're doing great.
I appreciate you saying that, man. That means a lot. It means a lot just for you to even have called me up the other day to see if I wanted to do this.
Of course.
Yeah, and there's been some incredible names on here, and just to even be on here is an honor and beyond humbling to me. So, dude, I appreciate it so much.
Of course, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Go and watch this thing, man.
Well, it'll be up. It'll be up tomorrow. We're on our grind here.
Cool, man.
But yeah, Travis, so before we get out of here, man, where can people follow your work at, and if they want to get some stuff done for their all-wheel drive build?
You know what? It's going to be Trust Fab on Instagram right now. I'm actually in the process right now of having a website set up. I just was previously hesitant. I didn't know really if a website would be beneficial for what I offer, for the uniqueness of it and the one-off aspect. I always wanted to be boutique and word of mouth, but I am in the process of getting a website, so that should be in the next month or so. And as of right now, it's Trust Fab on Instagram, and just send me a DM, and I'm not scared to call you. I give out my real phone number. And we have a conversation just like this, you know what I mean? I'm all for talking to people. I love racing and race cars, and if you want to ask questions, go ahead and ask away.
There you go, bro. Hey, Travis, I want to say thank you, man. Just for being a great dude, bro. Ever since I've known you, always had great conversations. You never held anything against me, and we're able to talk about things and just have a good time, man. I really appreciate that. That's rare in this community.
This was a pretty dope conversation.
Hell yeah. We're going to have to do this again, bro. But make sure you guys check out Trust Fab. I'll have the Instagram below. And check out some of the work that he's done. He uses Downstar hardware on a lot of these, and it makes the hardware look good with these rear ends, man. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. So, all cars Downstar, baby.
Hell yeah, I love it, man. So make sure you guys check out Travis at Trust Fab, and check out Heel Toe. That's our sponsor, Heel Toe Automotive. Make sure you check them out at heeltoeauto.com or on Instagram at Heel Toe Automotive. Been around since 2002, supplying you guys with all the Honda parts that you need. Just like Travis, great people. You can call them and you can text them, and it's an actual real person. Marcus is a great guy, and he'll take care of you guys. So Travis, once again, bro, thank you for your time. And everybody listening, thank you for listening. This is Downtime with Downstar, episode 178, and we're out. Peace.